Trump tweeted that the Gaza Strip would be handed over to the US by Israel at the conclusion of fighting, and Palestinians would be resettled somewhere else. So, where possibly could all the Palestinians in Gaza be resettled? It's not a small population. Isn't Trump paving the way for other countries to do something similar? Trump said the US will take over Gaza in Gaza. Do you think he will do that? He is literally inviting a war in the Middle East, and there's no way it's going to be a peaceful transition or relocation of Palestinians. How do you see this situation? So yeah, he tweeted that the Gaza Strip would be handed over to the US. It would be taken over by the US and redeveloped. And then later he also put out a statement that this will be done once Israel is done with the fighting and all that. So Israel has to properly bring peace in, pacify the region, sanitize the region, or whatever language you want to use. And once that is done, once peace prevails, America will step in and develop this piece of real estate essentially. So the Gaza Strip is not a very small place. So let's go to the map and take a look at the Gaza Strip. Yes, where is Gaza? So we have to go to West Asia. We have to go to this tiny nation called Israel, and here we have Gaza. So it's not a very large piece of land. If you take a rough measurement, it's measure here from here. It's about 45 kilometers long and about 10, how many kilometers? 10 kilometers wide. Yeah. So it's about 500 square kilometers, which is not very small. It's not large either. So that's the Gaza Strip, the dimensions of the Gaza Strip. So what's gonna happen, and where will these people be resettled if they are going to be resettled? So I hear that there are multiple nations in West Asia that will be hosting refugees or migrants from Gaza. Egypt is one of the nations I hear is likely to do that. The UAE and various other nations from the Arabian Peninsula, and I also hear Indonesia is one of the possible destinations. So it looks like there are destinations for these people to go to. Not sure what the population of Gaza is. I'll not Google it right now, but yeah, so there are multiple destinations. Look, when the US says that you're going to do this, nations do it. So Indonesia is friendly with the US, let's say, okay, and the nations in the Arabian Peninsula will also do what the Americans tell them to do. So it's not going to be a problem to resettle these people. I don't think it's going to create a war in the Middle East. The only protests will come from fringe organizations. It'll come from Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, definitely, Russia and China as well. North Korea, sure, but not too many other nations will be willing to condemn what's being done. And I'm sure the people of Gaza, also the actual civilians, would be happy to move somewhere else. I'm pretty sure most of them would be happy to actually get a chance to live somewhere where there's not this constant warfare happening. Um, what happens to Hamas? They are entrenched in Gaza, so I probably mean that would mean the end of Hamas eventually. So yeah, there could be a renewal in fighting and significant uptick in the intensity of fighting and hostilities before things settle down. So I don't think so. So yeah, there may be fighting. It may not be a very peaceful transition and relocation, but looks like the writing is on the wall. You may see a period of time where there's significant fighting in Gaza, because Hamas will not allow this to happen. They'll not just take it lying down. They'll fight. But I think the writing is on the wall. And once the people are relocated, the Americans will move into Gaza. They'll redevelop the whole place. So you may have casinos and Trump Taj Mahals and Mar-a-Lagos in Gaza eventually. That's what could happen. So we already know that there are multiple countries that will be potentially hosting these people. And yeah, it won't be a very peaceful transition of handover or the period before the handover. But it's certainly something the Israelis can get done. And now that Syria has fallen in the region, it's no longer um, an Iranian ally or Russian ally. It's going to be much easier to take care of Hamas and Hezbollah for the Western forces, for Israel and the US.